This is Blair, your cancer care bear. No hair, don't care. All faith, no fear. And you are now in the Blair Podcast. Welcome to the vibe. So, I read something where it said giving oral to a woman can cause throat cancer. And, when I was reading it, I'm like, I'm going to need like 5 professionals in every city of each state in America, and then like 10 professionals in every other country in the world in order for this to, really, for me to really like consider this. Because it made me think about, relationships that I've been in that I have given oral to, and, I'm like, I actually enjoy eating pussy, right? So I just want to be sure that it's just a case by case basis. Because I was sitting here, I was on Live Well, which is NHS, and it talks about how some types of cancers are linked to human HPV, which is, papillomavirus, and it's kind of more like it's one of those things where I believe it's just based on whether this person is infected or not. Because it also says that smoking and drinking alcohol can also cause different type of throat and mouth cancers. So it's very important to do due diligence. But it does require more research. But I want to have a talk, and, spark up a conversation as far as this, right? That's going to lead to other things. Because we have a lot of conspiracy theories out here. We have a lot of, professionals, a lot of philosophers, and a lot of people out here with different experiences, different views, different opinions, different researches, studies, and etc., etc. And I posed this question to my friend recently, so I want to pose this same question to you all listening. So those of you who are listening, I do appreciate it. And please feel free to respond in the comments, emails, however you can respond. Y'all know how to contact me. But my question is this: do we set ourselves up to, be corrected and be checked when we're misinformed or when we're not aware of anything? The reason why I asked this is because, right, so even with this study here, even with this matter of throat cancer and mouth cancer from oral sex, it makes you wonder. Well, it personally makes me think, like, okay, so we have, we do have, sex. People have sex. This is how people are brought into the world, when a man and a woman comes together and they have sexual intercourse. That's just the nature of life. That's how humanity and civilization come about, a man and a woman. So that is science. That is nature, God's given. But when it comes to oral sex, right, was that something that had kind of proceeded throughout time, or that's something that been here since the beginning of time that we are unsure of? So my only question is, the reason why I say is, should we succumb to what the natural plan and God of the world and of natural organic living, or should we adapt to change and growing and learning new things and re-educating things? Because of course we do have nature. We do have the nature of things. A man and a woman can only reproduce and bring life into this world. But there's new options now where man and man, woman and woman, they can adopt. Homosexual relationship can reproduce children, but not everybody wants to reproduce children. Some people are fine with adopting. And it also goes back to me to think about even what we eat, right? So we have people who are vegan, who believes that, we're not meant to eat animals. And then granted, there's other proteins other than animals that we can eat. But the earth is older than us. And yes, there has been shown that anything that we consume, whether it's food, whether it's information, music, it influences us. It influences our body. It influences our thinking. So it's just something I pose to you all, is how do you operate in a world that is meant to change? Do you accept it? Do you be consistent and just say, hey, look, I am here to follow the laws of the laws of nature, not laws of science, or laws of nature and science, not the laws of the land or whatnot. So those of you listening, please feel free to respond, answer, because again, this is not just a podcast for me, but it's a podcast for you, by you. This is our podcast, even though you are in the Blair. This is a vibe. This is a lesson. This is this is just a moment. But on another note, I do want to talk about, address, closure, having closure with people, especially closure with those you've been in a committed relationship with. What are some things that you feel is closure? Do you require closure? Is closure important? Because I'm going to tell you this, right? I've been in many relationships, serious relationships, and I'm not going to say any of them has been, on any bad blood, but there's some relationships that I've been in that I didn't have closure in. And it's kind of funny because I was actually just listening to some of the Breakfast Club interview with Ashanti, and she was talking about, her and Nelly's relationship, how she said this was like during the verses, this was the first time she, seen and spoke to him since then, and it was like in front of everybody, and they've been dating. I don't know how long they was dating for, but I think it's been like 6 something years or whatever since they broke up or whatnot. And she talks about sometimes you just have to go cold turkey. I think the best way to really get over a relationship that you just got out of is to just not speak to them, not see them. And for me, I have had some relationships like that, but like I said, I don't hold any hate in my heart. There's no grudges, but it's just I'm just a very giving, loving, kind person, and I'm always in that frame of being a friend first. But I wanna spark this thought in your mind that makes ask yourself, like, what type of closure do you need when you break up with someone? Is that conversation had at that moment, or do you just be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and then just move on? Because I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I done had that one last fuck or whatever. I've been involved with someone, and sometimes it's like, okay, we might be mad at each other, or we might miss each other, but we say, okay, we need some closure. We're gonna link up. We're gonna do this one last time. But honestly, like I said, I believe in soul ties. Sometimes it's not as easy to just have closure and then nothing else is there. So, that's just something that I really think about. I was just, recently in a relationship that is no longer a relationship, and we have our ups and downs. We still talk. I guess we can say from not daily, but maybe like every other day or every couple of days or whatnot. But it's still fresh, and this is not someone who I hate, someone who I didn't feel attracted to. It was just, like I said, sometimes that those relationships are a lot harder to let go, especially when you love somebody, especially when you care about somebody. So I think closure is overrated. So I think it's just a matter of having discipline and occupying yourself in other things. Some people might occupy themselves with work. Some people might occupy themselves with dating other people. Some people might occupy their time with just, drugs or something. So it's just something that I always felt was overrated. I mean, it's fine if, it's fine to have that, to do that. But it's just really something that I'm not really going to say is necessary. Right? So, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you, I mean, it might start getting a little, cliche, but you have to stand. You have to, kind of like stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Because what I will say is a pet peeve of mine is I don't really like the responsibility of being needed or being wanted. I like to be needed, I like to be wanted, but it might be narcissistic, it might be selfish, but only on my time, right? Because again, I believe in having some me time, and I also believe in having quality time with someone that you care about and love. Okay? So, it's, one thing about me is that I'm always gonna, be vocal, expressive, and open and honest about my feelings. No matter whether I want to or not, because I think communication is part of having healthy relationships, whether it's companionships, whether it's business, whether it is just association, communication is one thing. And I know we can sit here and say comprehension is understanding is, is understanding that communication, but it's still part of communication. It still falls under that line of communication. So it's like for me, I'm just like sometimes I don't like being responsible. Sometimes, as far as other people, if it doesn't have anything to do with my son or anything regarding stuff that I have to do, like my bills, sometimes I don't really want to have, not even burden, but I don't want to have that pressure put on me because I'm someone who feels like I have to be there. I have to be there for my significant other. Like, I don't want to be one of these people that you have to ask, because I don't like people asking me to do anything. Because because I do it. I have to want to do it. And then sometimes when it's asked, it's not as appreciated. And it's always looked at in a way of, oh, I have to ask you to do these things in order so you don't care. But that's not the case for me. It's like I'm not saying that I'm not in a position to do that, but I like helping and I like doing things for people just out the kindness of my heart. So when I'm in a relationship, or if I'm not in a relationship, I want to, just be more spontaneous. Not saying all the time. We're not mind readers, but I want to be spontaneous about my giving, genuine about my giving, and, just open about my giving. Like, if I'm in a relationship with you and, you going through hard times or whatever. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm not rich myself, or if you're going through hard times sometimes, I'm always going to be there to, support you and be there to comfort you. Not financially all the time, but sometimes that's what people want and people expect. Okay, because it's like one thing for sure is like, when you're being used, and when you're being manipulated, or when people pick and choose when they want to, deal with you, right? That's pretty much a real thing. So I don't like being in somebody else's struggle. I don't like adding to that struggle. So because sometimes, like I said, when I want to help and I can help, it really hurts me. So that's why I don't even, you know, like if I don't ask you, if I don't insist on helping, just don't ask me. And it's okay to ask me. I want you to ask me, but I'm like, in that sense, it's like, hey, I should, don't be afraid to ask me, but most of the time, I always take that initiative. Get you, like, if you, those of you who are used to me, those are the people who know me, knows that I'm gonna look out when I can. There's gonna be times where I look out even when I shouldn't. Then there's gonna be times when I look out just because I want to make sure that they're good. But where if I'm prioritizing, like I said, if it's not anything regarding myself or my son, it's hard for me to just, be wanted or needed on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I've been married before. I had a responsibility to my family as a husband, as a father, as a man, and sometimes I dropped the ball, but I had a partner to support me in that, because I do believe in marriage being that foundation of where you and your significant other y'all feed off of each other and support one another. But when it comes to dating, or when it comes to just being involved with somebody, whether y'all fooling around or whether y'all are just in a relationship trying to build something, it's a little bit different, because then, like I said before, it's an accountability thing. So I understand, like, when people when they, especially women, if you fucking a nigga and he ain't doing anything for you, while you fucking him. I mean, some women might just, like I said, men, we all have needs. Some women have those needs to just get her nut off. Same thing for men, but from my experience and from what I've seen, a lot of women say, hey, if we fucking, man, like, you gonna help me do something. Not saying take care of her, but like, hey, you can slide her some money, to get her nails done, or slide her some money to kind of like look nice or whatever. I mean, it's not really the man's responsibility, but I think it's just one of those type of things where, what are you getting? Because I was surprised when I heard this. So it's not the same. Like, if a woman is giving you her body, it's not the same when a man is giving her his body. And it's I can't explain it. That's maybe something else that I have to learn. But I don't know, blessed ones. I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts on this, on all these topics, because it's fair. It's a fair analogy. It's a fair question, right? If you're dealing with a person, in any way, as far as like, okay, if if y'all not dating, but y'all messing around, y'all funking around and stuff, are you obligated to, do, like, help her with something? Are you obligated to help him with something? Or is it just like, okay, it's the least you can do? Like, hey, look, because again, our bodies are temples, but a lot of times we don't treat it that way, because they're going back again to what I said in the beginning, as far as consuming, even with our bodies, we eat certain things that might be detrimental to our body. We listen to certain things that is detrimental to our thinking, and we involve ourselves with people that are detrimental to our life. So it's just, it's really that serious. It's really that serious, and it's just something to think about. Like I said, just thinking about that one last fuck, that one last smash, thinking about closure, it makes me wonder and think like, why do I need this? Why am I doing this? Because the thing about it is, if you're involved, if you're dealing with a person, like I said, sometimes it can be, this might be contradictory, but it's like if you're dealing with a person and then you decide not to deal with them anymore on a level of, hey, this is my girl, this is my man. If you remove yourself from that responsibility, why should you even still want to fuck with this person on just a sexual level where, okay, let me get one last smashing? Because I do feel like we should only have these type of connections and type of sexual relations with people who we want on a certain level. I think casual sex is okay, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the best decision, because like I said, soul ties. I mean, I have my fair share of doing that, but trust and believe me, I never had sex with someone who I didn't. Well, you know what? I'll take that back because I'm sitting here thinking about it now. I'll take that back. I have had sex with women who I didn't want to go any further with. And I'm going to be 100% honest. A lot of times I felt guilty and I regret that because, again, as you get older, you mature, you start realizing that, hey, it's a discipline thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, having temptation and sexual desires is a disciplinary thing. It's a natural thing where, hey, we're gonna have it. I'm a man. I'm a young man. I'm a single man. I'm a single father who have experienced sex multiple times. On many occasions, had my good days, had my bad days. But it is a desire, and it is something that I know is gonna help me relieve my stress. But the action is really what makes the difference. You can want something, you can need something so badly and have an addiction to something so badly, but if you don't have that self-control, sorry, if you don't have that self-control, how responsible or accountable are you going to hold yourself? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I always been open and honest about the type of person that I am. I go back and forth sometimes. Like I said, it's a case-by-case basis with everything. I've been in relationships where I didn't care about sex. I've been in relationships where I did. I've been in relationships that, I wanted more from that I didn't receive. But like I said again, we got to connect on a deeper level than just that for me to really see something beyond what we're doing, okay? Because like I said, I've been married, and even though we had that relationship, I was a bad boy. I made some decisions, regret some decisions, and what I gotta live with those decisions. Hey, I had my son before I got married, but when I was married, I would, like I said, I had, my son is everywhere. Like, even with my daughters and and through marriage and stuff, I'm responsible for them. And even now, I'm still responsible for my son. But because of the failures in my marriage, I have to live with the fact that I can't, I'm not gonna see my son, on a particular basis of I come home and then he's there. I can see him whenever I want to. Me and his mother have a pretty good relationship at this point where, hey, if I ever want to see him, I can get him, or I can visit him, and, we talk, we play, and we have that type of relationship where it's no issue. But again, I don't, he doesn't live with me, so it's one of those decisions that we have to deal with, and this is something that I encourage everybody to think about, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you want kids or you don't want kids. It's like, okay, if you're involved with someone who have kids and you don't have kids, you're gonna have to think about, hey, this person has a child. This person is not gonna be able to, this person is not I'm sorry, man. I had me a damn edible last night. That shit's still kicking in. But you involve with someone who have a kid, you're not gonna be able to just call them and say, hey, pull up, let's go somewhere, let's do something, because they have responsibilities. Even the same thing for me. Even though my son does not live with me, it's not as easy as me just saying, hey, I can just go out of town and do what I want to do. I always make sure that my son is good. I call my son almost every day. And, I check and make sure if he need anything, do anything. Like I said, I don't have to, his mom doesn't have to never ask me or tell me anything. Sometimes she'll call and ask me, hey, can you get Jameson this and do this? And I'm like, yeah, okay, let me take care of that. But in a sense of, okay, if it's something that I know that he needs, I'll always always check with his mom and be like, all right, I'm about to get this for our son, or does he have this already? Because like I said, again, I'm not there 24/7, so I don't know every single thing that's going on. It's not like me and his mom have a play-by-play of everything that we're doing as far as what he got or what he needs. Like I'll buy things for him, and I'll let his mom know, like, this is what I got for him, and I'm going to keep it here with me. Sometimes she might buy stuff or get something for him and let me know, but other times it's like, all right, he has this because, like I said, she has her own life, just like I have my own life. Just like, I've been in another recent relationship of mine. I was very much involved with, and my son was, he was connecting with her children. So, it's something, things like that. So I'll just keep it there, keep it at that point. But, that's just something that I always think about, like, as far as like responsibility and closure and relationships. I talk about relationships a lot on this podcast because, again, like I said, this is a podcast where we can be vulnerable, a podcast where we can express ourselves openly and freely, just share with the world our thoughts and views on things. And, like I say, I am very much open for suggestions, requests, and questions. And sometimes these are just things that come to mind. And I say, okay, let me share this question with you all, and we can talk about it on the next episode. So that's pretty much just all I have. So, again, one challenge is, look at life and think about, okay, how do you operate in life? Are you more so of let nature run its course, or are you sitting here really, changing with times, changing throughout the times that the world is going to be in, because the world is going to change regardless. And then we also think about, closure. What is the type of closure that you need when it comes to people and relationships? Like, do you need to have it? Do you be like, just go about your business? So, but like I said, blessed ones, that is all I have right now. So once again, y'all be safe, be positive, productive, prosperous, and I'll see y'all next time. Please remember to like, share, comment, emails down in the description. Please just go ahead and listen to the previous episodes on Apple Podcasts. Goddamn, Spotify, YouTube exclusive episode 29 on YouTube. Episodes 1 through 10 exclusively on SoundCloud. This is Blow Your Cancer Care Bear. No.